that you have faced as your organization because of either existence of standardization of protocols, standardized protocols, or maybe the logistics handling at border posts? I'm just going to simplify it since the panel has changed, and I will not stick to the plan. What challenges and what opportunities do you see from standardization of protocols and logistics handling at border posts, and the challenges that are there? I'll start. You say bonjour, my brother from the DRC. If you can just comment on that, on the topic. If you're not ready, I can start with, sir, from the freight forwarders. If you can just tell us the opportunities and the challenges, then we'll move to the next panelists.
Yeah, thank you. Yes, thank you so much, moderator. Just to save time, already have introduced myself. We have this on the table now, opportunities and challenges of standardizations of protocols and logistics handling. We as freight forwarders, first of all, I would like to bring into your attention that standardization of the customs systems has really done a lot in terms of minimizing documentation procedures and documentation timelines for cargo moving across ESC. We all understand that in the ESC, we have a common customs tariff, whereby we also have the single customs territory, whereby with the single customs territory, all the documentations start from the country of final destinations. This has enabled member state governments in the ESC to collect their revenues on time, but it has also reduced the dumping of transit shipments across these corridors. We do believe that some more improvements, once they are done on these systems, we shall have a streamless movement of cargo across the region. We all understand that one of the critical issues in movement of cargo is time consumption. Whenever a delay happens anywhere, that means there is cost which has been added in that movement of cargo. So when we have streamless movements in terms of standardization of such things like the custom systems within the ESC, we can move to another level of thinking. Instead of having one-stop border post, we now think of having non-stop border posts. Because these systems are integrated. These systems can read each other. These systems can confirm that taxes have been paid. We have also the scanners in the borders whereby the images can be merged in the system to see that certain cargo can be suspected for verification, or it can be confirmed for the movement of cargo. Another thing is the standardization of our regulations should also be considered in one way or another. With this, I can give an example of what Tanzania suffered in a couple years ago. We had standardized our regulations on the road regulations with the ESC, whereby it denied us opportunities to enjoy movement of cargo to our neighbors who are in the SADC. We all understand that Tanzania is blessed to be in both regions. So once we adapt standardizations of some regulations in the ESC, which are not favoring our movement of cargo to the SADC region, it's also a chaos to these corridors. We all know that more than 65% of the cargo that is handled through our ports is connected to our southern region. So the regulations which were in place were from the ESC region, whereby we handle very less from our ports to the ESC regions. In fact, we have now improved, and we are now who are exporting more to our neighbors than the way we used to import before. So when you're considering standardization, among the opportunities is the customs systems which have been standardized, but among the challenges which we have come across is the difference of these regulations when we are acting as ESC members and when we are acting as SADC members. Before I give the mic to my colleagues to contribute, I think these are the few things we can start considering now while looking forward to the others. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Now, talking to my brother from Latra, I know one of the challenges that we have seen in terms of standardization is enforcing it. I'm giving you this one because I know you are a regulator and you know how to enforce some of these things. How exactly can we enforce? Is it something that is feasible? Can it be done? Because I see countries, for example, in the rail space, each country is doing its own thing. For example, if you talk about standardization of the gauges, there is a fight at the moment. The African Union has said that there is funding that is going to come, and that funding is only going to fund the standard gauge. Yes, the United Republic of Tanzania has embraced it, and you have done well. But the rest of SADC is saying, we are 60% of the rail in Africa. How can you enforce a standardization where we now have to change about 60,000 kilometers, or is it 40,000 kilometers of rail because of a statement that has come from the African Union? How can we enforce that? Is it possible? Your thoughts? And any of the panelists can also come in and maybe help us in terms of enforcing these standards. Or any other comment that you have on this. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. First and foremost, I'd like to first appreciate that we have protocols which facilitate movement of goods across the two regional blocks, meaning East Africa and SADC. But as you have put it, in Tanzania, you can say we are a bit advantageous, but also disadvantaged, because we belong to both blocks, East Africa and the SADC. And the problem I'm seeing here, first is the interpretation of those protocols into local legislations, which is a challenge towards Tanzania, but also to other members of the two blocks, SADC and East Africa. So when it comes to enforcement, that's where the challenge starts. You see, first and foremost, you must enforce your registration, which is compatible with the region or block protocol. So now it depends. If your other partner state does not have such kind of registration, maybe is not prepared to implement it, it might be a problem. And there are some other standards which are acceptable in one block, but not acceptable in the other block. We had a challenge of overload control side, because I'm dealing with road transport, not railway. I might be different format to talk about the railway, but when it comes to road, that's where I belong to. In ESC, we had their own our standards, but in the SADC, there was a different standard altogether. So it took us a long time to come to agreement which overweight control standard should be implemented. So to us, we have advantage, but we have also advantage because we belong to two blocks. But the major disadvantage and challenge is interpretation of the cross-border protocols into local laws. Though we have the protocols already in both blocks, but when it comes to implementation, each country does it at its own pace. Some are implementing, some are not. So that's where the challenge becomes. And now we are talking about the non-tariff barriers. You see, those are coming from, already we have protocols, but other partner states are implementing in a different way. So to other countries, that seems to be a barrier to trade and all that kind of things. So the challenges are quite immense. It's because of lack of standard of implementing the protocol which is already in place. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So I believe organizations like SADC, EAC are going to be very critical. I'm sure even from Southern Africa Railways Association, we are going to be very critical. I know SADC at the moment is working on a regional master plan. And unfortunately, what we noted is there is lack of information flowing to the member states in terms of some of the protocols that exist, or it's signed at ministerial level, but in terms of getting the information to the relevant bodies, maybe there is need for improvement there. But thank you for your contribution. I think it was well put. Over to you, sir. Any comment that you have on the topic at hand, if you have an interesting experience that you have gone through, it would help. Thank you.
Thank you so much, the facilitator. But I want to thank everyone, but I also want to thank the Almighty God for this opportunity, but also to thank the event organizer, especially Latra, for putting up such a wonderful event for us to discuss, but also to the topic, you know. Truly, as Tanzanian, we are so blessed. We are very much blessed to have these both protocols, the SADC and East Africa. But at the same time, the blessing comes with so many challenges, you know, that in very rare we get chance to discuss. For example, I'll just mention a few especially on the transport sector. You know, first we have the road toll issues. You know, the road toll issues, it is a very big concern. You know, on what we are practicing in SADC side, comparing to what we are doing on East Africa. But also the movement of goods. I hear my fellow Urio mention, but I just wanted to put emphasis on, for example, the way if I buy the yellow machine, you know, from South Africa, it will reach maybe to the border faster than moving the yellow machine on the East Africa side. Yet for me, moving the yellow machine from Tanzania to, let's say, to Rwanda or to Kigali, just because of these permits and all this other stuff. But also the way bridge configuration like Excel, you know, at some point here in East Africa, we used to apply the super single tires, you know. And then at some point, the East Africa protocols on road toll changed the usage of a single tire, while the SADC is still okay to use. So this was a lot of pressure to the transporters, but also the trailers configuration or bus configuration. You know, you can, some of the trailers or some of the buses from SADC side, they cannot come to Dar es Salaam or they cannot come to Tanzania because of the configuration, you know. But also, such as, you know, SADC side, you have the advantage of container stripping at the port, you know. So that way it allows the SADC guys to carry more cargoes, you know, compared to where in Dar es Salaam, the custom protocol is pushing us to take the container and come back with the container. So you are losing almost 4 tons, you know, on doing that. But also the other issue is any time when we have issues between SADC and East Africa, the decision process or making this decision, we have things that are stalled for the last 5 years, you know, still yet no decision, you know. So I think it is very important when you have a challenge, because the business cannot wait, you know, between these two countries, because as Tanzanian, we must trade with the SADC. It's part of our life born or part of our entire channel. You know, like Uriel said, almost 70% of all cargo that goes through Port of Dar es Salaam is traded to the SADC countries. You know, and then the other balance is on AC. So I think we need to look into this and make and reduce the decision time. You know, because on a trade, time is the key. You know, if you don't apply less time on cargo movement, then you will have a good port with less business opportunity. And then the last thing that as a transportation, it is on the borders, you know, especially when you do the comparison, you know, between for me, when you go to Tunduma, where I think it is the biggest border between SADC and us, you know, but you look on the environment, whether on the Zambia side or Tanzanian side, you know, particular, you wonder, almost 70 years of independence, and we still cannot put a decent border for both ends, you know, either, you know, Zambia side or Tanzanian side, parking, the doors, you know, as of today, you know, we are crossing on a pattern, you know. In the morning you have the bulk, and then in the evening you have the tankers. I think we are not acting faster enough to accommodate the seriousness of the business between SADC and East Africa.
Thank you so much. So the key things that I pick from you is, I think the delay in decision making is key. And I think you are unique in that you are belonging to the same, to SADC and EAC. I know COMESA came to us as Sarah and said, you know what, we need to sit together and maybe do a tripartite, because there's the same members that are sitting in SADC are sitting in COMESA, they are sitting in. So they say maybe we need to come together and see how we can come up with a body that is able to solve some of the conflicts that are there because of the various bodies. So you want to add? No,
I just want to add one more thing. To reduce the entities that are involved between this business, you are so very right in terms of, there are so many entities that are involved. Like today, you know, you would think you need part of custom people, you need part of TRA to be part of this, you know, sort of discussion, you know, to help us move forward faster than.
Okay, so thank you so much for, I think, for adding that aspect. Also, just to add there, we're talking about how many, from the rail side, to say sometimes we're saying buying more locomotives or buy more trucks, for example. It's because of the lack of turnaround of those trucks. If they take too long at the border, it seems like you need more trucks. But what we just need is maybe efficiencies at the border. Then your truck can do maybe 4 days. If it was doing 4 days, it can do 2 days and do more trips in that discussion. So we need to continue to have this discussion so that the authorities, the decision makers can step in. You know, talking about the central corridors, I was in trouble with TRC in my last board meeting because I had done a chart of all the lines and I forgot the central corridor. And TRC said, where is the central corridor? So I'm glad to meet you. I will not forget the central corridor again. Any input in terms of the topic that we have at hand?
Thank you, the facilitator. Central Corridor, we are Central Corridor Transit Transport Facilitation Agency. Our agencies are mandated to coordinate the member countries, to coordinate and facilitate transit transport from the port of Dar es Salaam to all these landlocked countries which are the member states of Central Corridor. And one of our roles is to coordinate the harmonization of these the protocols, the regulation, the standards, the frameworks, so that the users of the central corridor have a smooth transit from the port to the end, to the user country or to the end point. And yes, we've also, these are our stakeholders who are on this panel. We have regular interactions, and we have monitoring systems at border posts where we get such challenges. We bring the agencies who are responsible into dialogues to try to streamline this and have a harmonized way. Of course, still work in progress. There's a lot. Right now we have COMESA, we have ESC, we have SADC on some of the, where some borders have all this. So there is differences, and these differences indeed create delays. And delays as well as many challenges, even cost, because delays result into cost to the trader or the transporter. So our role is really to bring this to the stakeholders together, negotiate, and then have dialogues, and then come to a harmonized way. So it's still work in progress.
So do you think a session maybe of all these bodies once in a while to sit together in the same room? Because I think it's important that maybe when we identify such if you need such bodies to come, maybe someone has to arise and say, let's have a joint session. I'm sure the funders will be able to fund such, because if we are talking about the free movement of goods, it's not going to be achieved if we don't sort this. But thank you for your contribution. I think it's going to go a long way in terms of seeing the change. Now, I don't envy my brother from DRC, because everybody wants a piece of DRC. I know the Chinese are looking at capacitating Tazara, and the Americans, European Union are looking at Lopito from a rail perspective. And I know the European Union are saying also the North-South corridor from a rail perspective has to be. So I'm thinking now from a DRC perspective, the pressure that is on the nation to relate to all these parties, because most of the materials that we are talking about, whether they are going to Dar, they are going to Richards Bay, or they are going to Maputo, somehow DRC is involved in terms of the supply, whether it's sulfur coming into DRC or it's copper, it's all the fuel that is going in there. I had an opportunity to go to Lubumbashi and on a trolley trip to is it Solwezi or Kolwezi? Kolwezi, yes. And it was interesting to see how much cargo is coming from you're from TRC. Oh, TRC, not okay, that's fine. Thank you for the correction. So it was I think from TRC, maybe you are involved. You can tell from a rail space. How can we improve it? Because I'm telling you, it's a challenge. We always picture flights. You leave Johannesburg, you pass so many countries. Can that be achieved with rail or road? How can we do that? He spoke about a one-stop border not being good enough. He wants a non-stop border. From a rail perspective, can that be achieved? I had DRC, not TRC, so I was actually going to give you a bigger problem than what you might have to answer to. But if you want to contribute on that as well, please do.
Thank you very much, Chair. As we know that TRC now is operating two gauges, the meter gauge and the standard gauge. And we have gone far to implement the standard gauge for the sake of tapping the heavier road. That's why we are constructing a heavier railway, the mining railway, with the 35X road. What does it mean? It can carry almost more than 80 tons per wagon compared to the current meter gauge, of which we are carrying 40 tons. Regarding to the topic here, I think we as railways, we face some challenges at the initial. For example, at the port, if you have wagons going to Uganda, you can see that because of some documentation there regarding to the cargo is going up to another country in EAC. So we are having some challenges. But if there will be standardization, I think it will save much in order to minimize the delays. And now we expect our railway will go up to our neighboring countries. Like now, we've been commissioned to support construction of the Uvinza-Msongati railway of almost 300 kilometers. The aim is to tap the minerals from the nickel from Msongati in Burundi. But we are going far. I think even our neighbor DRCs are interested. We will penetrate up to Kindu, whereby we will be taking some minerals. With the standardization, I think railways will be more easier to serve. Like we can see our colleagues from roads are suffering for so many border posts. But on railways, we expect is that with the presence of our regulator, Latra, I think we will manage to make sure that there will be a good connectivity and the standardization to EAC and also the SADC region in Central.
Thank you so much. So I'm passionate more about this area because that's my space. It's really a struggle to move the wagons from one place to the other. I know on the north-south corridor, that's the one that's linking Richards Bay to Ndola. I'm saying Ndola because of the issues also happening in DRC. You find some of the Transnet had said their wagons, they don't want them to go into the DRC because of the time it takes there. So you find there are so many dry ports that are being done now because of certain things that could be solved in countries. I actually saw another dry port again being created on another corridor because of issues of delays that were happening at the border or delays that were coming from operators. So I think there's a lot of work that we have to do to make sure that we get improvement in the way. I'll go back again to the panel. I think in terms of, there was the last question that was there. How can Tanzania leverage lessons from SADC and EAC to strengthen regional integration? What future strategies are needed for more seamless cross-border transport? I'll give it to those that have an answer for this. That was the last point. How can Tanzania leverage lessons from both SADC and EAC to strengthen regional integration? Or maybe take it to say, you see something working in EAC that is not working in SADC. What lessons can we draw maybe from both that can work? I was researching there and I saw that in EAC there seems to be a bit more order in terms of the laws that pertain to certain things, but in SADC it's not really clear. So what are things that you can pick from your experience that can benefit us as we leave all these railroad to the future? Who would want to take that first? You would want, I know you had looked at that. Yeah, the last point.
Okay, I'm looking at the future. If we could have the digital customs connectivity between the two regions, this will go a long way to have that integration in the region. Then if we could also, because now Tanzania has electronic cargo tracking system, but if we can have it, the whole region, even outside Tanzania, other countries where Tanzania is trading whom Tanzania is trading with, it will still even up and also promote the trade between the countries. Then if we can have mutual recognition of the certificates, you know, and of mutual recognition of the certificates issued by agencies, say in Tanzania, by the clearance and agencies in Tanzania, and it can be recognized by the other agencies in the different countries. This will also take the regional trading and business to a higher level. Then also, of course, harmonize the working hours, because when you look at some borders cross a bit early, others operate 24 hours, others 12, even sometimes there are others who operate 7 to 8 hours only. So if we could have harmonize whereby it's agreed that all borders are working the same hours, then it can even help the traders and transporters to predict or to plan accordingly when to cross over to which country and when to come in from which country. Lastly, if we could have joint capacity building programs, that one can also be helpful. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
I think to speed up and ease the trade, I think we should have what they call it, some sort of a trade facilitation board or apex that facilitate the trade, even on an emergency basis or on a temporary way, pending other deliberation and all that. So we need an apex or a board that can be formed to speed the process. I think that will get us more, instead of waiting the political decision, we have a joint board that forms the decision quicker and faster.
Thank you.
I think the only way to overcome those challenges, which are facing right now, is the adoption of the tripartite transport transit facilitation program, which was trying to harmonize the cross-border procedures within the 3 blocks, COMESA, East Africa, and SADC. And I remember we had also sample laws for the 3 blocks. So by adopting that initiative and implementing those cross-border proposed traffic laws and all that, it will be easier. By implementing the multilateral cross-border road transport. The laws are there, draft laws are there. The problem is adopting those cross-border laws. See, so I think it's time now for the 3 blocks to decide affirmatively to go for implementing those laws. See. Otherwise, the challenge will still remain there. The delays, the cost of transport will still be the burden to our stakeholders.
Thank you. The freight forward perspective.
Yeah, thank you so much, moderator. A lot have been said by my colleagues, but from our part, in fact, Tanzania, geographically, we are very lucky to be in both regions. And what we are trying to do now is to try to push on the SADC region to implement the success stories we have in the ESC. Apparently, in the freight forwarding industry, we as Tanzanians, we have been the ones who have been contributing and sharing experience of how the ESC works in terms of the custom systems, in terms of the common tariff. And I believe that one day these 2 regions will merge and have a standardized operating procedure for both member states to enjoy them. My sister engineer had already tipped on it. One of the issues our members are facing is the time barrier, whereby maybe some of the border posts, they work 24/7, and some of the border posts have a limited time of working. Plus, also, the lack of connectivity, which does not enable our shipments to cross to another country if the particular country has a regulation whereby documentation has to be completed. All the other government agencies have to approve before a truck is moved, maybe from Tunduma border to Nakonde border. So once we standardize, or maybe we have an interfacing of the systems, like for example, the Zambian revenue to interface with the revenue authority, whereby documentations can even start in their countries in terms of paying taxes before the truck is loaded from Dar es Salaam port. This is going to save a lot of time, and I think we should now think of moving from one-stop border post to non-stop border posts.
Thank you so much. Yes, from a TRC, what do we have? I think when you look at the future, what is it that you want to see? Or what lessons can you learn from one to the next from a rail perspective? If you have anything on that. Or any capacity building initiatives that you feel we need to have.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. For the case of TRC, as we are rail operators and also contractors, as we are doing now, we expect is that due to that agreement of African Union, we expect other countries also will start constructing the standard gauge so that we will be having connection with the other countries. We, during the liberation, we were very frontliners in liberation in South Africa, but now in SGR also we have spearheaded to be frontliners. We expect the other countries will take initiative for the sake of agreement of African Union, so that it will be easier to connect with the other countries. Like we have started with Burundi now, and we expect it to go to Congo, and other initiatives are being taken to make sure that we connect Rwanda also, our neighbors, so that and other countries will be chipping in order to make sure that if the wagon is coming from the port of Dar es Salaam, it can go through directly to, if it is Congo, without any challenges. As sometime we used it to operate East Africa railways during those days with Kenya, with Uganda, where the wagons were being crossed at the border without any restriction. So we expect even for railways, because we will be having some, if we issue of the scanner at the port, if there will be scanners at the border, I think for harmonization of the railways, it will be with good achievement for the ES and the SADC regions. As we expect that it will be the fastest railway as we are doing now, because our aim as a country of Tanzania, we are trying to bring near our neighbors by reducing running distance. Like now, you can see Dar es Salaam now is near to Dodoma. 3 hours you are in Dodoma. We expect it to reach Kigoma, of which we will be using for passengers almost 10 hours, but for the cargo train it will be 12 hours, the cargo is at the port of Kigoma, and they need to connect it to us. So we expect with the integration of railways, we will be having more seamless operation, and also to make sure that the digitalization of the system of which the country can track the work on where is it, if it is in Burundi, if it is in Kindu, at Kindu. Also, it will be easy for railways, for the betterment of the SADC and the ESC as a whole. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I like your approach where you are saying, you know, how the United Republic of Tanzania played a key role in Southern Africa. I believe that it's important that in these meetings, maybe we'll need to give you a sessions. That's why we're saying we probably need to bring everyone in the region to come and see how standard gauge works, because there's still debates to say, some are saying it's not good enough, it does this and that, but I think if we see a practical example of what's going on, it can help maybe in making the decisions, because ultimately you want to move more with a single train, and you want to get there faster. You want a system that does not cause derailments. If you are an example that we can look at from a rail perspective, I think it will be important. Like we said, in June, we are bringing you a team so that you can do those liberation moves that you did to the rail space. I think the panelists gave us a wealth of contributions. What I got from them is action points. It's important that we pick before we open to the floor. We want to pick on some of the things that they mentioned. I think number one that's ringing is decision making with all the bodies that are existing at the moment, COMESA, EAC, SADC, and they have other small bodies as well that you have to go in. I walked into in Harare in one, it was a pharmacy. It had about 6 licenses that were there from music, from these are the things that business is facing, and it's not that they are free, but you have to pay. So I think we need to look at how to help the decision making and how business can operate well with limited restrictions in terms of facilitating the movement of goods. I also got a key point there in terms of understanding the existence of the protocols that are already there. But sometimes we go and ask for something to be done that's already there. And I think like universities have libraries, maybe we need to make sure that these SADC libraries, COMESA libraries are easily accessible to people so that they can begin to understand the protocols that are there, so that it helps the parties to make the decisions that are there. So I think I took that point to say, you know what, it's important. And another key thing that came from the engineer there was in terms of the systems that are able to read each other. You spoke about computer systems operating in other countries. And I think he also emphasized on that issue to say, you know what, there are systems, if these systems are in all the countries and you can read that this truck passed here or this wagon passed through this country, or customs cleared it here, now in Tanzania they see it, in Zambia they see it, it will be able to quicken the whole process. I think you also spoke about the toll fees. It's important that which body can look into that in terms of the variances in terms of the toll fees in SADC and the toll fees as well in EAC. From a rail perspective, well, like I said, there's a lot that we can look at and we can learn going forward. But the key thing is a business has to operate without restrictions. Movements have to be movement of goods and services, and people should be easy. It should be easy. I like it from an immigration perspective. I can walk into South Africa and I can get a visa there. I don't have to apply before I come. I came here. I didn't have to apply for a visa. I got to the immigration, they managed to stamp for me. As Zimbabweans, I always like it when we go to DRC. We don't need visas because we help them with the war. So we just go in there and they just stamp. So there are certain pockets where this is working, but we need to just identify how we can make sure that it works in all the other areas. Let's identify the good. If the good is working in a certain area, maybe let's make sure that good that we are seeing working in another area, we push it through. I don't know if anyone has a contribution to make. Yes, you can come.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, for giving me this opportunity. First, I must declare that I am part of the Secretariat, so I was involved in drafting these topics. So from my side, it's not going to be a question because I'm supposed to come with the answers. But I just wanted to first to congratulate the panelists, because this is one of the panels that gave us a headache on arranging the members. As you can see, we had about 8 institutions who were supposed to come, but good enough, we have had 5 of them who have given a meaningful contribution to the topic. So from my side, I just wanted to add 1 or 2 things, as you have pointed out, Mr. Chair, from the discussion, that we, in the part of railways, we have the master plan for SADC railways, and I understand that it is going to extend to the whole continent. But as far as I can see, I see there's a big pace made in the railway to make the master plan and to standardize the regulations and the standards in terms of technical and engineering issues. But in the road sector, I see there's a lot involved, but we need to have the same pace so that we can move, because whatever we improve in rail, it is going to be a burden on the roadside if nothing is being done. So I just want to add on that one of the issues that we can come up with is that we need to move the efforts from both sides, from the road and rails. When we draft the master plans, we standardize the protocols and regulations so that we can have a common approach and a common goal. The other thing is on the issue of ICT solution, has been pointed out by my brother from the freight forwarders. Yes, as part of the theme of this event, innovation is part and parcel. So the issue of ICT improvements, and he has used a very good phrase that no stop border posts. I think if we can improvise and invest in ICT solution, then we can be able to reach a point whereby we just move seamlessly and we don't need to stop everywhere so that we can make some clearances. So with those 2 points, I think I can just comment on the conclusion made by the chair, and also want to again thank the panelists for your participation, and I think I can end up there, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else with a comment? We are about to finish soon, so just bear with us. The next 5 minutes, we should be done.
Okay, thank you. My name is Raymond.
Nice name.
Yes, from Winterchik. Yeah. First of all, congratulations for the all panelists and Latra, indeed, for organizing this. I've seen a very good discussion among the questions that were asked. My point, and that couldn't be the question really, but it's also to insist on what we have discussed. Among the points that I think it's very varied and it's going to work with for the importers and exporters, first of all is to make sure that the circulation of the economy as fast as we can see how to move it fast. First of all, there is delays on making decision. It has right there. I think that has to be documented, and maybe you panelists, you can see how you are going to document this and get a way forward, because we have discussed very varied things, and we believe if it's going to be worked out with this, we are going to improve our borders. We are going to improve our economy from the port to the destination. For instance, we have the neighboring countries that are looking to our port. If there is any delays, means we are going to close that business. But if we are going to improve our documentation on the border posts, how do we do it? I believe we are going to push up our economy. So looking at that, maybe we have a strategy and see among the things that we have discussed here, how are we going to execute it and how are we going to end up with this? Then maybe the action plan should be planned on. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I think with that, maybe I can just speak to the organizers. Thank you so much for organizing. But I believe after this, there has to be a platform. There are so many action points that have been brought across. It's not every day that you tell the regulator what to do, but maybe it's important to maybe document this after the conference is done and see how we can take these points to the relevant bodies to say, you know what, this came up during our meeting, how can we solve this? So that next year we come back, we are not discussing the same thing, but we can come back with some victories to say, you know, after we met and we discussed, we heard about the issues about decision making, we heard about the issues about the ICT, we did this and we managed at least to achieve a success in the area. So I think we thank you for organizing this, and we look forward maybe to a greater role in making sure that solutions are obtained. Ladies and gentlemen, I think our panel has done well. Let's give them a round of applause for the work that they've done. Ladies and gentlemen, I think we will stand for a group photo. But thank you so much for your contribution. Some of you, I know it was impromptu, but you did well. Thank you.
Some of the best sessions are those that are impromptu. Congratulations to you, Mr. Raymond, for running the session very well. Very articulate. You know the issues very well. Very challenging questions. Excuse me, may I have my protocol officers? Any protocol officers in the room? I'd like you to take this quick note to Mikumi. And this note says, this note says to all delegates, early start tomorrow, 7:30 a.m. Please be here. Ensure you have your ID badge. Kwa hiyo naomba tafadhali tufike mapema kesho, na tafadhali usiku wa leo nguo utakayoivaa, begi utakalolibeba, hakikisha begi yako umeiweka ndani. Ili ukifika hapa kesho tafadhali isiwe tabu kidogo kujitambulisha. Kwa namna hiyo DG, asante kwa kuwepo mpaka mwisho na viongozi wengine. Tunasema jioni njema. Siku ya kesho ndio ya ufunguzi. Natumaini leo tumejitahidi kadri ya uwezo wetu. Tulikuwa na challenges za siku ya kwanza, lakini nadhani tumezivuka. Jambo la msingi sana ni haya majadiliano yetu. Michango tunayoipata, maoni yanayotokana na hapa, ambayo yatajenga sasa siku ya mwisho ambayo tutakuwa tunafunga kikao, bila shaka na maazimio ama mtazamo mbele tunaweza tukasema. Kwa namna hiyo basi ningependa niwatakieni nyote jioni njema. Muwe na jioni njema na salama kabisa mnaporejea, iwe ni hotelini, iwe ni majumbani, wherever you are. Mabibi na bwana, Mungu awabariki sana. Have a great evening. See you tomorrow morning. All right. So have a pleasant evening, ladies and gentlemen. Please take care wherever you're going to. If you're B2Bing, if you're in a hotel, if you're back home with your friends, please have a pleasant evening. See you tomorrow morning early. And please, once again, ensure you're carrying your badge. Be blessed Good evening. Technicals, naomba tuje to clear microphones tuweze kuzihifadhi vizuri.